Hello and welcome to the Warpath Podcast, this Harlandale Life, where we sit down and visit with Harlandale alumni whose stories deserve to be told, individuals whose journeys are uncommon and meaningful and inspiring. I'm Robert Villafranca, and in today's episode, we're going to sit down with Xavier Garcia, a proud member of the Harlandale High School class of 2022. After graduating from Harlandale High School, Xavier headed to Waxahachie, Texas, to the Southwestern Assemblies of God University to continue his education and his football playing career. While there, he has earned all kinds of awards, all conference. He's got hardware to show for that, but we're going to get to that in just a minute. There's more story to be told. Part of that story to be told is X has already earned his bachelor's degree. He's getting ready to play his fifth and final year of eligibility there at what is now Nelson University. Southwestern Assemblies of God University changed their name to Nelson University. Same school. X is getting ready to play his final year of eligibility there, and looking forward to a really a good season from X. We're excited to have you here today, X. Thank you for joining us here on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a blessing to be here.
X, we kind of introduced your story as what you've done at Nelson University, but I want to wind that clock back just a little bit to when you were here at Harlandale High School, and really your story as a high school student. It starts off with adversity, and we always talk about dealing with adversity and how adversity doesn't define you, but your response to it does. And in my opinion, your response to the adversity that you faced is just outstanding, and I want to talk a little bit about that. So let's wind back to your junior year here at Harlandale High School playing football. You were a linebacker and doing very well. But those of you that will remember 2020, it was the year of the pandemic, and things shut down, schools shut down, athletic competitions were restricted, and it was just a different deal. That season, I think 3 of the games were actually postponed, or not postponed, but forfeit because of COVID protocol. So take us back to that year, X, and how you dealt with that and the things that you experienced from the inside, looking at it from the inside out. What was your junior year like with dealing with the pandemic like COVID?
I think junior year for like everybody was hard, obviously, but I feel like for us athletes as a high schooler, when it was cut short, was something we took to heart. But at the same time, it made us a lot closer. Like we were just working out every day, regardless of the circumstances, whether it was at home, pulling trucks, pushing cars. It's just, we found ways to be better. We kept in contact without seeing each other in person. Then when we came in person, we knew our season could be cut short at any minute. So every day I felt like we took more as a privilege and a blessing to be able to be out here together. And it just, we cherished every moment and made us all closer. Like that was a time that I can say set me up for the years to come. And obviously we control what we can control, and what we couldn't control, we still just did our best in the circumstances that we were dealt with.
And a fine example of that, after that crazy year, of course, your senior year rolls around, and from what I remember, Coach Torres was the head coach here. Yes, Coach Cornwell was also here at the time. Coach Molino, I believe, was a defensive coordinator, and I remember them all sharing with me how excited they were about. There was an Xavier Garcia here on the team that's going to just be outstanding. We can't wait to put him out there on the field, and he's a really good linebacker. But we're coming out of the pandemic. We're dealing with getting normal again. So it's a football season. The scrimmage before we start the season at Kennedy Field against Memorial, you suffer an injury, and it really cost you your senior season. You weren't able to play your senior year. And X, for that's devastating. And for many people, I think that would have been the end of the football story. But it wasn't for you. Take us to that senior year, first of all, if it isn't too painful. Take us to the diagnosis where you first learned that you weren't going to be able to play at all your senior year, and then your response to that going forward.
So from tweaking my knee, I thought it was just hyperextended. So I heard when Coach Barrio sat down with my father on the bench when I was over there in shock and crying with my teammates, but she told my father that it was a torn ACL from her diagnosis. Then it was the next morning, we went at 5 a.m. to the medical team, and that's when they actually diagnosed me after doing the tests, the x-rays and MRIs. And Actually, my first response was, that was in a time where I was going through my phase. So the first thing I said was, thank God, because I knew it was just another test to my testimony. But my father was in tears. That's probably what hurt me the most, because he seen me day in, day out. He was also, right after a long day of work, taking me to extra trainings and practices. So it was a lot that he knew he sacrificed, and that's what hurt me the most, knowing that he put those sacrifices in for me to be in the position I was in. And that diagnosis just, it tore him apart, which eventually just broke me. But I knew in my mind that it was just another bump on the road, that I was still going to meet my dreams of playing college ball, whether it was a big school, small school. My main priority at that point was just to finish the test that I started. So
you stayed focused. You said, this is not going to be the end of my playing career. You knew that there was something on the other side of the horizon for you, but you still had 10 football games ahead of you where you were going to be on the sideline. And what was that experience like? From someone. I mean, and again, I know you're very humble. I know you're very humble, but let me say it. You were a leader on that team. The team was looking to you to really lead them in general, but on the defensive side of the ball. And then all of a sudden, the team is minus a leader. Here's X. He's not in football pads. He's on the sideline. Mm-hmm. 10 games in, you're not going to ever play your senior year. Well, what was that experience like? How did you respond to your team that was looking for leadership?
I think for me personally, it taught me a lot of patience, but then it also taught me unselfishness. Like, what was done. I couldn't control that anymore, but I could still be there for my teammates. Like, being on the field with them, I was an extra coach on the field. Now, I just saw it as an opportunity to be an extra coach on the sideline, an extra hype man. Just, my teammates still had a job to finish. It was something we started together, and I could either choose to be selfish and fold and let them finish it on their own while knowing I could have helped them on the sideline, or I can just be there and be that presence on the sideline to still help them finish the things that we had said we were going to do together. So I still saw it as something we were accomplishing together, although I wasn't playing. But at that point, I just chose that it was bigger than myself. That's something the coaches always preach, but you don't understand it until you have to live in that moment and be unselfish and still see that your teammates are going to shine, and you want to support them. You don't want to hate on nobody. You want to, because supporting someone is not going to take away from your own successes. So I just saw it as that, and that's how I was there for my teammates.
Supporting someone is not going to take away from your own successes. Beautifully said. You know, and back at the time, I remember having conversations with Coach Torres, who was a head coach here in your senior year, and he was so proud of you. I'm sure that he shared that. If he has, and if he hasn't, I'm going to share it with you today. He was so proud of your response, and on several occasions, he shared with me how much you were a leader on the sideline, and almost like another coach there on the sideline with them, and you were the hype guy for the team. And he said he could not imagine an athlete having a better response than you did. So, I mean, kudos to you,
thank you.
For all that you did in your senior year. But the senior year, you're here. It is a torn ACL. You're out for the football season, and again, that can be devastating. That can turn people can pivot from their goals. Your goal was to play at the next level, football, but you were not deterred. And I want to talk about the spring part of your senior year. Not only do you recover, and shout out to Coach Vanessa Vallejo, who was the head trainer at the time and who oversaw your rehab. Of course, she's not going to do the rehab for you. She's going to oversee it, and you've got to, put in the hours and the work. But you rehab, and not only are you good to go next fall for football season, you're good to go for spring. You're on the track team. You're on the 4x100 meter relay team. Tell us about that season. Were you surprised that you were, once you got out there and went full speed, were you surprised that your knee could do that? Or what were your thoughts coming back from such an injury?
I think for me, it was more of like others were surprised at my progress, but I think the people who knew I was going to do it was my parents, of course, because they seen the hours I put in, Coach Vallejo and Coach Molina. Coach Vallejo was a big part of my recovery process because school started at 7, but she still showed up at 6 a.m. knowing my dreams were to make it to college, to be an athlete still. And so she would sacrifice her own time, and she would wake up early to get me into that rehab process. And then Coach Molina, he just never took his hand off me. He would come and check on me, text me, like we just kept in contact. He just kept motivating me, saying it's not over, like this is just another part of my story. And once I got to that track season and I ran the first 100, I got, I think, second or third place in that heat. And that's when I knew, like, okay, my work it's been done. Like, I'm here now. I'm back to where I'm supposed to be. And from there, it's just like every week I felt more athletic, more like healed again. And I think for me, I knew the hours I put in. I was rehabbing in the morning, working out with the team in the afternoon, and then I had rehab again in the evening. So I think like all those hours stacked up, and I knew I was ready to go. So I wasn't more of in any fear. I trusted my body, and it was just a part of the process.
4x100 meter relay team. You finish second in district. You go to area, you go to the regional meet, and you qualify for the finals. You know, that doesn't happen every year. And to have one of the legs, no pun intended, one of the legs having rehabbed in the fall and contributing to a team like that, that's just amazing. Let's shout out the rest of the guys on that team. That was Zion Molina. I think that was Rene Renteria.
Yes, sir. Right? Yes, sir.
And Norbert Luna. Norbert was just a freshman that year. Yes, you were the only senior on
I
that.
was,
you
yes,
were
sir.
the only senior on that team. So, running district, going to area, the competition gets a little tougher. I want you to go back. Let's go back to that regional meet, because that's, you're talking about talent from all over Region 4, which is just south of Austin, Rio Grande Valley and Corpus and up to around Houston. That's a big chunk of Texas, Region 4. And you've got schools coming from all over. And, you get there and you really don't know what to expect.
Yes,
I guess
sir.
you see some times, what they've done for the year, but you really don't know what to expect from yourself, from your team. Are we going to choke? Are we going to do this, get the handoffs just right? Take us to that regional, the preliminary heat of the regional the regional meet.
I think we just had a group mindset where we knew we were athletic, and we just knew we were mentally going to be strong at any moment of the race. So I think before the meet, we just took the time we had a younger team. Obviously, I was the older guy, so we just took the time to gather, calm ourselves down. Like, hey, we've been winning ever since we started this season. This is no different. Like, there's more athletes, but we're athletic too. We're here for a reason. So I think we just switched our mindset from, are we going to make it, to who's going to have a chance with us. We just saw ourselves as the top dogs, and we knew we were going to do something special. So we were just living in the moment and appreciated the race as we started and finished.
So do you remember when going into the finals, what finish you had? I think 8 teams make the finals from the region.
I think we finished 7th or 8th.
7th or 8th. So there you go. One, it's icing on the cake. It's you're in the regional finals, finished 7th or 8th there. One more run. Tell us your thoughts. As which leg of the relay were you?
I was the second. I was the second.
So the one guy takes off from the blocks, and then you're the next guy to get you're the first handoff, right?
Yes, sir. So it was Zion handing it off to me, then I handed it off to Renee, and we let Norbert finish.
So tell me, the gun goes off, regional finals. You got to feel like, wow, way back in August at that scrimmage, I didn't think I was going to be here. And it's got to tell us your feelings. What are your thoughts? A gun goes off, regional finals, 4x100.
I think I was feeling grateful. I mean, that was probably the most nervous I've ever been in a sports moment throughout high school, knowing the things that were at stake. But I think just when I seen Zion coming off the curve, I knew it was my time, and I was grateful to even be in that position. So I knew once I got that handoff, it was just me doing me, and I was just gonna live in the moment. And then once I gave it to Renee, I knew we had a good chance. And after that, it was just about finishing, and I was just excited to support every leg as they were running, and obviously they supported me, so it was just good to finish together.
Well, one of the top 4x100 teams that Harlandale has ever fielded, getting to the regional finals is a big deal. So you prove to yourself that you're ready. You prove to the world that you rehabbed. And I'd like to know a little bit more about the recruitment process, or the connection process between you. It was Southwestern Assemblies of God University at the time. It's Nelson University now. The name has changed. But tell us about the connection. Did SAGU reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? Who put y'all together? How did that happen, that you were headed that way?
So I had multiple offers, and I think them seeing that a team in the conference offered me made them reach out. And then obviously me, as my faith, it was intriguing from the start, just because I wanted to be around faith. Like everything that I've been through, especially, I wanted to just cling to that. And Their first reach out was a crazy reach out because I was at a family funeral and I get a phone call. So I had to step out, and that's when they offered me, like, on the spot on the call. And it was just a crazy moment knowing the circumstances I was in again. And it just felt like that's something I've been waiting for. And there's no way that I'm in this hard time again. And they reach out to me thinking that it was over with them. And so ever since then, they showed me love. They actually showed up to my house. They were one of the 2 teams that showed up to my house. Met my brother. My brother opened the door with a water gun and sprayed the coach, and I was embarrassed.
Oh,
and
goodness.
after that, it's just like the connection, the love just felt natural. So I knew that was going to end up being my home. And it was just...
Let me put it in context, because I didn't ask you this. When was the connection made? Before your senior year, after your senior year, in the spring? When did you and SAGU connect? When did you have your first conversation?
We connected during, I want to say, November. And then Christmas break is when it got serious. And then the coach just contacted me every day. Coach Freezy Smalls was recruiting linebackers at the time. And he was a DC up there. He kept in contact, and all throughout track season, he was just telling me good things, and he was just motivating me for my meet. So he just kept in contact ever since then.
Uh-huh. All right, we're here at Harlandale High School in the summer, getting some lawn mowed around us. The field looks great. So November, let's get back to that. SAGU reaches out. You're still rehabbing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's got to mean something to you that they had that kind of faith in you, that you've missed your senior season, still interested, still want you to come play. We think you can do it. That's got to mean something.
It did, yes, sir. So it was actually a hard process. Like, my mom knows we cried together. I was thinking my college hopes were over with, because every coach that I got close to, they would say, well, we're not going to be able to provide a scholarship or an opportunity at that, because we have to see other players knowing that they're not injured and you're coming off an injury that's serious. And that just like hurt me, knowing that I put in the work to be better than most. And I knew myself that I was capable, but just to have that rejection from the coaches out of their fear, I mean, obviously it's a business and they have to protect their own jobs. And that was just probably the hardest thing for me. And seeing those rejections and knowing that I did the work and just had to see it through.
SAGU did not.
No,
did
not at all. Not at all.
They had faith in you. You had faith in them, and look at where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, X, I'm not going to make you go down the list of awards that you've gotten, but you're all conference. You've been
Yes,
all
sir.
conference. You had accolades for a game, an outstanding game that you've played. You're a captain on that team. I mean, you've got the hardware to show, and you're getting ready for your senior season.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to put that on hold on a minute, because I just thought of something else that I wanted to visit with you about. Was you decided to compete in track and field up there?
Oh, yes, sir.
You're throwing the discus,
Yes, sir.
and the shot, or
I was doing javelin, and I was also on the 4x1 team there as well.
uh-huh.
And yeah,
And at the conference meet, you brought some hardware home.
I did. Yes, sir. I got second place in conference in javelin. My
Uh-huh.
first time doing it.
So I don't have to ask you. You didn't throw javelin in high school.
No, sir. No,
So
sir.
you see a javelin there on the ground. You say, yeah, I'd like to try that and give it a shot.
My coach, he actually seen my athleticism from running. He said, "You're strong." So obviously, I wasn't interested in shot or discus because I was never good at it. But he said, "I have something for you in javelin." And ever since then, every day, like once I start something, I gotta finish. So I ended up being decent. Had ups and downs throughout the season, and then came to conference and I threw my PR and actually got second in conference. So it was, yeah, Coach Cox did well with me.
A competitor. Well, okay. Well, then let's get back to football. And all, as I said, all conference, a captain on the team, been recognized for outstanding games that you have played as well. You have your senior year coming up. What are you looking forward to in your senior year? What are your expectations? What are your goals?
As far as for myself, I think my accolades will follow itself just because that's the time I put in, the effort I put in. But this season, I'm hoping we have a good team winning season, make it to a bowl game or playoffs. And I think we have the pieces to do it. But as far as what I want to see different from my last go around, not knowing what the future upholds as far as pros or whether I start my coaching career, I think more of just team and just being willing to do anything for the team this year. It's not about myself, and whether I have to play more, play less, play a different position, like I'm open to it, and that's just the way I'm seeing this upcoming season.
X, every time I've talked to you, it's just stood out to me how unselfish you are and how much you do the things that you need to do to succeed individually, but you're not, there's not a selfish bone in you. You're always looking out. And one of the ways that manifests itself, that while you've been at Nelson University, you've reached back to Harlandale, and you had to have been in that recruiting process. I know it's not a coincidence that at one time there were 5 Harlandale Indians on the Nelson University roster.
Yes, sir.
And tell us about that and what drives you. What's your motivation to say, I'm doing well up here. This is pretty cool. I know some guys that can play as well. What's your motivation to do that?
I think for me, it started just back in the beginning. So I've grown up on the South Side, went to Lee Allen Middle School, then Harlandale. And obviously there's always been talent. It's just we don't have the resources as most people do to reach the next level. And for me, once I was there, I set in stone, told myself, like, eventually I'm going to be a coach and I want to do great things. So why not start now? So I just saw it as I'm up here. I've created a good resume for myself. I created trust between the coaching staff. And once I did it the first time and they're like, okay, I trust you to bring this guy here. I mean, you're ex, you've done what you've done. So I'm gonna believe that you say this kid is worth it. He's good. So it's ever since then, my coach actually, he'll ask me, do you have any kids in mind for this upcoming year? So every year I just try to find a connection back to Harlandale and try to get a guy from Harlandale or San Antonio at that. And ever since, it's just been looking out for my brothers. Eventually, like, I see Harlandale as a brotherhood, regardless if I'm 10 years post-graduation or right now. Then I just try to give everyone an opportunity that I had, because I know for me it was a hard process. So I want to try to just make that easier for the guys here.
That's outstanding. X. I wrote some names down at one time. Juan Yaves, Aiden Sosa, Ignacio Ceja, Rene Casillas, all on the roster there with you. Or are there any others? Who else have you taken up there with you?
For now, I believe that was it. We had Nico Rodriguez who did it, but just chose a different path. Yeah. He was doing well. And then
Nico went to the Marines.
He did, right? Yes, sir, with his brother. And this year we have Santi. Santi's going up there, so he should be a good piece. Another guy to add to that.
Uh-huh. So you keep in contact here with Harlandale, and you get a chance to visit with them on the side. It's already been 2022, so these kids were freshmen, maybe 8th graders. How do you connect with them when you come back? How does that connection happen?
I think I was just blessed to build a good character resume for myself. So many of the younger athletes, they try to reach out, whether it's social media or through others. And so anytime I'm home, we'll get a workout together, or the younger guys that I get in. So like Santi, I'll be like, who is good from your younger class, like junior year, sophomore year, I try to reach out to them. Or it's just something that I come back here and I train here on the same field. They'll see me, they'll approach me. And then from there, we just create a bond, and that's how I just keep creating new creations here.
Do you do any training back here in San Antonio, or do you do all of your training at the university? Do you come back here and do any physical training with the kids that may be recruiting? Do you run a camp or anything like that? Have you done that yet?
So for me, I do little camps, like mini camps, but I do it, it's free of charge. I just do it out of the love of the sport. And I'm trying to get these guys on the same page and let them know the drills, what to expect. Whether they go to Nelson or not, I just want them to be prepared so that they succeed and don't drop out at the next level. And so that's something I do. I mean, I work hard. I do my own trainings, and most of them will reach out and they'll get a few trainings in with me. So the last 2 years, I've been staying up there at Nelson and doing my trainings in the summer. And the guys train with me up there. They'll do my workouts. And then when I'm home, I'll reach out to the guys and tell them I'm in town, and we usually get a workout in either early morning or late at night.
X, I'm going to leave you with this question. You got a 9th grader, an 8th grader that loves to play football, loves to compete. He thinks he wants to play at the next level. What's your message to them?
I think cherishing it. I don't want kids to, everyone has a goal of playing college or at the pros at that, but I think cherishing where you are right now and not comparing yourself. People get things confused. There's a lot of people now who get comparison mixed with competition. Like, you're supposed to compete to be better yourself, compete to make your team better, but don't compare yourself to others, because everyone's got their own journey, their own path. So I think just in your circumstances, know what you can do, what you can get done, and do it at the best.
X, what an outstanding story, and what a great message that you have to young athletes. I really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us here on the Warpath Podcast. I'm really happy to share the story. But the story is, we're just in the first chapters here. There's still a lot of story to be written.
Yes, sir.
But I thought it'd be a good time to pause and tell your story so far. So Xavier Garcia, Harlandale High School class of
Thank you.
2022. Thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us on this podcast. This is Robert Villafranca with the Warpath Podcast, this Harlandale Life. Thank you for joining us. Look for us on Warpath YouTube.